kind of like a, I think people like Mike because I'm kind of a unique kind of character.
And I have
You just see how games and possessions are more intense, how they mean more. I think the U.S. is going to obviously win.
We've got Chris Vernon and KOC podcasting together. We have Brace Belden harassing Republican thought leaders on Twitter. A new episode of Come Town just dropped. A hyped Instagram-coded forward is leading a series of one-and-done Duke freshmen Blue Devils on March Madness. Patrick, my first question for you is 2000. Actually, it's just a statement. Hey, Patrick, 2018 called. They want their culture back. What's going on? What? Why are we back?
It feels great. I like Instagram-coded as an adjective. I also like the idea of Zion and Cooper Flagg as sort of like these like opposites of each other. Like Flagg's the whole thing is that he's like good at everything and great at defense, and Zion is like he's really good at just driving to the rim in a straight line.
Yeah,
that's
It
beautiful.
was the tangibles versus intangibles debate. I bring that up. I made that connection because I was in Lexington, Kentucky this weekend, and I got to talk to a beat reporter for Duke who covered Duke every year, and he was just Cooper Flagg is better than Zion. He just is more effective, does more little things than whatever. And I myself cannot speak to that. Didn't watch a ton of them at either one, but it was just interesting. I guess I was like, of course you would compare them.
Yeah, I was talking about this with some people. Like, Flagg is obviously the number one guy this year. I think I talked about it last week. I've been following all these draft people who love to do like 9 line break tweets, which also is kind of like the Brace Belden thing.
Yes.
Like anyone who uses the enter function more than once in a tweet is like a psycho of some kind.
Yeah.
And it's fun to start comparing Flagg not to like players in this class, but like number one picks of the past.
Right.
And the person we landed on is like Blake Griffin with all defense potential.
Yeah. That is interesting. Yeah, I want to get into that because I got to see him live, which was fun. I got to see.
You
this
did the scout.
Yeah, I got to scout exactly.
But you're using line breaks now in our show notes. There's like Cooper Flagg 4 for 17 FGA like yada 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 yada.
Thread crazy. Here's how you can grow your draft business. Sign up for my Discord. No, but before I want to do that, we sent out a call to action a few weeks ago about rating and reviewing the Nothing But Respect podcast. And if you do, we will engage with your thoughtful discourse because we everybody who I've talked to about the show always has kind of fun things to say, and we really appreciate all that stuff. And this is no different. We got a review from Big J. This is a long one, but it's very funny and thoughtful, so I'm going to read it. The title is SGA just shattered Shabuzi's ankles, which is the moment I saw that I was in.
It's a beautiful image.
Yes, it really is. Hey guys, love the pod. Love that you guys seem to look at the NBA as a joke worth engaging with seriously. I'm just pause there. That's wonderful. I love that.
Yeah, he made a better thesis statement than we have done.
Yeah,
in months
exactly.
of
I'm
this.
always like, it's like hipster basketball. that nailed it. I think that's the perfect lens through which to review the modern NBA. In that spirit, I want to propose a solution to the league's All-Star Weekend woes. The celebrities versus All-Star game. Essentially, rather than holding 2 separate games, the celebrities will play the 10 All-Star starters in the weekend's marquee matchup. The celebrities will be given a 150-point head start, but otherwise the game will be played according to normal NBA rules. The All-Stars will, of course, humiliate the celebrities, but in that lies the appeal. The league cannot make the All-Star game competitive, then it at least can make it an entertaining showcase of just how much better these athletes are than, quote, regular people. I believe this format represents an improvement over the status quo of each of the for each of the relevant shareholders. Because of the talent gap, there will be simultaneously no shame for the celebs in inevitably being dominated and little risk in losing from the All-Stars. The league gets to satisfy its clear desire to prominently feature celebrities during the All-Star weekend, but it can do so in a way appealing to fans rather than repellent. The only time I want to see Mr. Beast on screen is if he's being posterized by Giannis Antetokounmpo. By giving up a clearly outdated notion that the All-Star Game is a real game, the league can create an absurdist spectacle that can be enjoyed by players and fans alike. Would love to hear our perspective on the matter. Top line, I love it. I think it works on all levels. What's your initial thoughts?
And you know how, have you ever done the thought exercise where you think like, okay, if I had to play LeBron in one-on-one, how would you do it? And the answer I always come to is just like, take a three the second you get the ball, just hope you hit open shots.
Mm-hmm.
But that sort of like that spectacle of imagining how much better they are at basketball, but knowing that there's like some element of luck is like, that is the charm that makes this idea work. Like, you'd have to have celebrities who would be willing to be humiliated over and over again. But I do like the competitive setup of like, okay, the Stars have cut the lead to 15. There's like 3 minutes left, but the celebs have figured out how to like bleed the clock and like get an open, like vaguely half court-ish shot. And if they hit 1 out of like 15, they're going to win. Like, that's a really fun thing to imagine.
Right. It does. I had the same thought of like, okay, if you really are gaming this out, are you full court pressing for the first 45 minutes? Like, are you doing a kind of platoon style, sicking Drew Holiday on the Secretary of Education and like trying to get like 16 8-second violations in a row? Or do you do like a kind of bend, don't break, expect them to miss, 75 threes?
I think if you're the players, it sort of depends who they have on the other side. Because like, they'd have to follow our suggestions for the celebrity game. Like the Rizzler and Woe Vicky would have to be out there for this to work. But like, if you have like WNBA players and like Arne Duncan, like you can't really just run the like bully ball in the sense of like, I'm going to take the ball and dunk on you every single time. But like, if you just have like a member of BTS and like Kevin Hart out there, you absolutely just have Drew Holiday go on like a personal 30-0 run. And I think it's over.
Yeah. I think the biggest issue that I would see in this would lie in the kind of homogeneity of what the 150-point comeback would look like. Because I just think it would look like a Kai Cenat receiving the ball, either immediately traveling or kind of going like turtle mode where he's like holding the ball in his tummy, kind of like writhing around. And I just think that would happen 75 times in a row
Yeah.
So it might make for choppy play. Maybe you're right. You mix it in with like, could, like I'm trying to think of like a Diana Taurasi or like a Sue Bird, like a kind of retired or older WNBA player, like help organize the team into some kind of way that might help. But
they should do 5-on-4 or like 5-on-3 maybe. Like
right.
that would actually, it wouldn't really change anything. Like if you have like Kevin Hart and Kai Cenat doubling, Shea, like that's basically the same as not guarding him. But like at least then you could just have someone cherry pick under the far rim. Like you'd have to change the structure of basketball to like tip it even more towards the celebs. But I think something like that could be very funny.
It does remind me a little bit of like, did you see this Rucker Park Street Legend versus Brian Scalabrine debacle,
where he was just fouling the shit out of him every single time?
Yeah, I think that it might end up looking like that, which was, at least for me, an extremely satisfying but grotesque spectacle that I watched of watching this like street ball and get just like dominated by Brian Scalabrine.
Yeah, because I think maybe one of the things the NBA would like enjoy marketing here is kind of what Big J said, like how much better these guys are than like regular ass people, which I think is like a really fun thing to think about. Like when I was covering Kings Warriors a few years ago, I remember I was on the court, like right next to Moses Moody as he did his warm-ups. And he's, like a poet, sort of the fifth starter on the Warriors. And yet he was just looking like the greatest basketball player of all time for 5 minutes as he's just like effortlessly swishing all these threes and stuff. And that was like it's really fun to see like the fine texture of how good these people are when they're like competing against each other. It's not always obvious, but when it's against like no one or normal people, it's like, oh my God, these guys are all incredible.
I think maybe we do like an Elam ending. I think my fine tune that I would add, okay, the game is to 81. it's the Mamba ending. The celebrities start with 80 points. So it's just that if the celebrities get one single point, so that's either a free throw or a half-court shot or whatever, and it's just a 1 hour showcase to who can get to 81 faster.
I love that.
I think that could be it. Your point about just how good these NBA players are is actually a good transition to my experience in March Madness, because I was with the good folks at the Dan Lebitard Show Network. I was in Lexington and Raleigh, Durham, covering the games, and this was my first time ever covering a kind of like as a credentialed media member in a basketball setting.
Cool.
Which was really fun. Just like in general, like great experience, really kind of exciting. From a kind of like basketball insights perspective, I was actually really struck by how many there were, and namely, it is the experience of sitting. You only watch high level basketball that close if you are covering it or a millionaire and kind of sit courtside or whatever. So this was my first time. I sat 1/4 of one Warriors game courtside because my mom got tickets through her work in like 2006.
Hell yeah.
Donald Foyle took a bite of my ice cream sandwich, which was very cute.
During the game?
At halftime.
Wow, I love that.
Yeah, big shouts to Donald Foyle.
Orinda legend, Donald Foyle.
Oh, I didn't know he's
my friend Jarvis is from there, and he said that Donald Foyle would go to the Pete's in downtown Orinda and just post up for hours and just like kind of hold court. Good dude.
Damn. Hell yeah. That was probably back when Pete's was kind of like small scale too.
Yeah.
That's like posting up in the, that's like Kemp Bazemore holed up in the first Phil's coffee. Just banging a mint mojito. Okay. Anyway. Yeah. So this was my first time, again, in my adult life, watching a NBA game or watching a high level basketball game. And I want to try to communicate this because the whole thing was that I couldn't see this until I saw it. But previously, honestly, before seeing this games, I did have a bit of a disconnect around the concept of a shot blocker or a shot changer, because when you watch an NBA game or even a college game, most players are pretty much able to navigate a shot blocker via their athleticism, via kind of shooting around them, via body control, and it just sort of like what it looks like is a regular layup. And if you and they've trained themselves to figure out how to finish around bigs, across bigs, all of that, such that I even find myself being like, our shot blockers, our rim protectors, a little overrated. I
think that take has sort of been circulating for a while, and I think your point is good here. That like it's not that; it's mostly just that everyone's so athletic, right? In the NBA,
I think it's that, and what made me. I took a big step back on that opinion about shot blockers being overrated, watching the big men play, because I watched Auburn, I watched Duke. They have some proper 7-footers out there.
Yeah, Malawach is such a good rim protector. He's huge.
I just didn't appreciate how difficult every single shot is around the rim when they are in the around there, because their arms are long. Like the amount of multitasking, like athletic multitasking a guard needs to do to even just attempt a shot around the rim is like, of course that over time leads to missed layups, leads to fucked up decision making, all this stuff, because they are doing such incredible athleticism, again, just to like arrive at a shot that could even have a chance of going in. Around these big men that I just didn't see until I saw it up close. So that was my biggest takeaway, is like big men important.
That's also like, I think as defenses help defenses specifically have gotten better, like the risk of like weak side blocks, or like you get past your man and instead of just like trying to beat the shot blocker one-on-one, all of a sudden 3 guys are trying to like back tap you. Like,
yes.
I've noticed a lot more of that. Basically, like, there's this like larger order schematic thing that I wanted to ask your opinion about, having seen it. Like, watching college, it's they're running a lot of the same stuff as the pros these days. Like people, I'm thinking like Illinois specifically, they run these like 5-out, high volume 3. Like there's a lot of like split cuts, DHOs. It's like NBA level stuff. And you can see the schemes much more easily just because everyone is like slower and less athletic.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not that the game is like less complex. It's actually that it's like weirdly more complex because people are not athletic and able to then get like easy buckets as often, if that makes sense. Like it's like the scheme is almost more important because you have to manufacture buckets through like 5-man coordinated actions instead of like, hey, Norm Powell is going to take 3 dribbles and just nail 7 mid-rangers in a row, you know?
Absolutely. There's definitely the level of kind of like schematic importance just sort of mattering more. Then the other component of it is because on an NBA court today, you usually 7 of the 10 people on the court can hit a corner 3 as a good shot for them.
Yeah.
That is about 1 to 2 of those people are on a college court. So the effect is it is so small. The area of that you can like operate in is so tiny. And that was actually one of the other things that came through for me watching was like when you put 10, 6'5", 190 guys on a court, there's just not even like room to dribble. They're so physically big that I'm like, how does anybody score any baskets?
They just deny space like at every single level. And like I keep bringing up Illinois because I was so struck by this stat because they attempt either the most or like somewhere in the top 5 most threes in the nation, and they shoot like 250th by percentage or some shit. And it's like, yeah, they are running the right stuff. They just don't have the like skill to pull it off. It's like, it really makes you appreciate the pros, honestly.
Yeah, totally. And it definitely makes you appreciate the pros. And there is something, because you would think that if you were kind of moneyballing this, you would run, like, why doesn't a college team run like 75 high pick and rolls every game? And I think it's because the shooters aren't good enough that you can basically just tag the roller and then recover. And, because if you tag the roller and it's like Luka and Dorian Finney-Smith, he's just looking at it, binging it to Dorian Finney-Smith, and you're dead. And so, but without that, you can just slam the roller and then just recover back, and the like physics major is not going to hit the shot.
Yeah, you're not worried about losing the 3-on-2 on the other end, because if anything, like, you're like, okay, cool, you're taking a wing 3 with a guy sprinting out at you who's going to like get in transition for free. Like, we've won this possession. Right.
So the last kind of thing I want to say about this was I did have this other thought around, because I mostly don't buy the narrative, and I feel like this has largely been debunked by polite society, that NBA players don't try hard. Where
that's crazy.
College kids do. And a thought I had while watching this was that what's actually happening is, this is a crazy take, but there was in Manifest Destiny, when we hit the other end, we got to the other end, and the new frontier, we had to move back. We had to create new frontiers inwards. The new frontier of basketball excellence is no longer effort when you get to the NBA. It's like processing speed. It's almost like what you do between the fourth and the first, not between the first and the fourth, that's like separating you, to borrow that term from baseball. Like, it's your ability to kind of intuitively and effortlessly understand defensive schematics, which is not a physical effort thing. It's like a mental effort and like being locked in. And so that's what creates this sense that players are moving slower, because they're trying to slow the game down.
Yeah, that's so true. That's like it's like NBA players don't appear to be trying as hard, sort of because they're all trying so hard, and like because they can cover so much space. Like the things that look effortless are like the things that actually like take a lot of effort. I don't know.
Well, and just the thing of running 10% faster or 10% harder is actually bad in an NBA game, because somebody will step in, you'll draw a charge, or you'll miss a pass, or you'll be going too fast. Like it's no longer about that. Whereas when you do watch a college game and there aren't enough like nobody's fucking hitting anything. So like getting 15 offensive rebounds will happen and will change the constitution of a game. That style of effort just matters more.
You know, I'm sort of skipping ahead in the agenda here, and I do want to hear your in-person scouting takes, but like that's what struck me about the McNeese State upset in the first round is that they are running these like really intricate, complicated defensive schemes where it's like, okay, we're going to run a 2-3 zone, and then once the other team makes 3 passes, we're going to bust out into man, or like,
it was so
okay, we're
cool.
just going to hold the zone, or like, there's one possession they were up like 17 at the end of the first half. Clemson calls a timeout, and they bust out a 1-3-1 zone for exactly one possession and never went back to it. And it's like that level of just team-wide coordination and honestly effort. Like the players were just busting ass. They were playing it so well. Like if you can just bring that, and honestly, they only won one game. Like it only works so much, but like they won because they were like as coordinated and speedy as the pros at that level.
Yes. Well, they would have made it to the Sweet 16 if they hadn't gotten lost in the Aura Nexus, which we will talk about later. But no, I agree. I watched a breakdown from this guy Andrew Talks Hoops on Instagram. I suggest
that was great.
Check him out. Of just sort of kind of breaking down what McNeese did. And yeah, I mean they were running such kind of like. It was one of the few times where I felt myself really nerding out about basketball schematics because of just exactly what you were talking about. Like they were throwing weird defenses. It reminded me a little bit of that Miami Heat finals run where they were busting out the zones at these smart times. They were thinking about these schematics of basketball in ways that were just super novel. Like there was innovation on a it bucked the narrative that we have solved basketball in a way that was fun. Like it was like, oh, maybe we haven't. Maybe like offense, maybe there's just been a slow to react level of solving basketball. And now that defenses are going to come back and do, this, I know, I don't think it was the first time this ever happened. It's the first time I ever saw it that really pointed out the like a 2-3 zone that the way to, everybody knows on this basketball court, the way to break a 2-3 zone is to get the ball in the middle in the nail. And so what McNeese did to combat that is they knew that would happen. And when it went to the nail, they immediately, that triggered a switch to a man-to-man, it was just so cool. Like what a crazy, like who even fucking thinks of that?
It's great. And I there's like two things I like about that. One is that they sort of they like understand that like the shot clock is to their advantage and they like essentially weaponize it.
Yes.
Because even like they're not going to create a turnover out of that necessarily. It's not like busting out into man is like, oh, they're going to just fuck it up and throw it to the other team. It's literally just like you're going to have to use an extra 7 seconds to like figure out what's going on. And like by the time you get into a pick and roll, all of a sudden there's 5 seconds on the clock. And like
exactly. Yes. 1,000%.
That's been one of the big innovations in the NBA this season is literally just like kind of token pressure up through the half court. And all of a sudden, instead of teams being able to like for free get into their first action at like 21 on the shot clock, it's like 15. And all you have to do is just have Keon Ellis just kind of like get in Steph Curry's face. And there's not really like the possibility of a turnover. It's just annoying. And the other thing is like, this has been another big innovation in the pros is like using like a variety of defenses and like strategies and coverages as a way to sort of gain the initiative. Like you see this in the way teams guard Luka specifically. It's like you actually can't just play one coverage against him. Like if you switch or drop or double, like, and just do that over and over again, he'll kill you. The way to defend him is to like keep him guessing and like switch up your shit on him because basically you're still putting yourself in compromised positions. You're still saying, okay, the roller might get us here or the shooter might get us here, but you are making him figure that out time by time. And like, you are sort of seizing the initiative. And I like seeing that specific like mindset trickle down to college.
I completely agree. And it did get me because I do find myself sometimes following the thought, which I don't think is a bad, like objectively bad, but of like, God, there's too many threes. Do we need a rule change? Like, does something need to happen? And this, what you're talking about, this sort of like these exciting defensive evolutions is an example of like an argument for maybe no, like maybe we just need a few years for the defenses to adjust and to kind of what we're seeing is this sort of like constant push and pull between offensive prowess and defensive innovation, and that maybe defenses will figure out how to limit threes or how to slow down this offense in a way that will then require more innovation. Because you're totally right that the innovations are happening.
And like you can, I have a point and then I have a counterpoint for myself.
Mm-hmm.
You can see that like the good defenses are the ones who like limit 3-point volume.
Mm-hmm.
This is a thing that the hardcore analytics people have like really been pointing out a lot this year in a season where pretty much every team runs some form of spread out something. Like unless you're literally the Grizzlies, you're running like the offenses have a lot of variety between them, but like the goals are sort of broadly the same. Where like the boot and holes area and like we're gonna protect the rim at all costs, but let you have threes, like that's totally gone.
Yeah.
Like the good defenses are the ones that limit 3-point volume. The good offenses are the ones that like produce a lot of them.
Yeah.
It's been sort of fun to see that. I think it's like equalized a little bit. Like defenses have gotten more of an upper hand this year. My counterpoint to myself is maybe that's literally just the Thompson twins are freaks. And like the two teams that are doing the most interesting stuff are the ones that have them on there.
Right.
So maybe it's literally just like not that much of a league thing. And mostly these guys are like two of the greatest athletes we've ever seen in basketball.
Well, to your point, because I think what you were saying about the shot clock being the enemy and being the like ace in the hole for defenses is so right. And it's this thing that's happening at the margins. But when the name of the game has been to find the right switch and exploit it, and the counter has been we're going to have 5 Apex Predator Thompson acolytes, you can still somewhere when you're Luka, when you're Tatum, when you're one of these pros, like you can prod and find the advantage. But instead of getting that advantage going at 9 seconds left in the shot clock, or at 12 seconds left in the shot clock, maybe it's 7 seconds left in the shot clock, and all of a sudden, you're just rushing a little bit more. You have one less pass available. An interesting thing that I've seen in the NBA this year that I thought was really cool, that maybe has been going on, but it was the first time I really noticed it, is teams are now with 2 to 3 seconds left in the shot clock doing a blitz double. Like, where they will just, no matter what, if they see 2 seconds left on the shot clock, it's like blitz because they know they don't have enough time to pass. And it's just this really cool little wrinkle to turn it into like, now if you're ISOing with 5 seconds left, you're actually really ISOing with 3 seconds left because you're getting a blitz double in 2 seconds. And so just this speeding up defensive innovation is fun to watch.
Yeah, that's sort of, I really like that point. I guess I haven't really sort of put that into words, but I definitely have noticed that more. And like the token pressure with 24 seconds on the shot clock, it's basically like, okay, what can we get away with given the like exigency of them needing to take a shot in this time?
Yeah.
With a lot of time left, it's like we can get away with harassing them. And with a little, it's like, okay, now we're just going to compromise and sell out. And I love that. Like, it's really fun to watch. And I'm really like, this is the thing I'm really excited to watch in the playoffs this year, which is like sort of the next time meaningful basketball will be played, because the stuff that's happening now is kind of ass. Is like, honestly, it's the Thunder specifically, in the way that they play this like high ball pressure, ball hawking, turnover. You are not allowed to dribble the basketball whatsoever. Defense that tends to be a little less effective in the playoffs when like, basically it's like, the innovation this year has been the game speeding up even more, and that runs into this sort of orthodoxy that the game slows down in the playoffs. And like, what speed will they be allowed to dictate speed like that? Like, that's going to be the really fascinating thing to watch.
Right. No, that's totally
like,
true.
Especially if they get LA Clippers in the first round, a team that just wants to play 80 possessions a game, and like, here's James Harden dribbling 19 times. Like, does it actually make them a good matchup for the Thunder? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. One last question about this I want to throw at you, because with this kind of conversation about defensive innovations, like something that's coming up is this kind of one of the mysteries of the season, I think, which is why are the Knicks not a good defense, despite having, Mikal Bridges and Tibbs, a defensive master, and OG Anunoby, like, and I wonder, I don't know if there's I can't point to it, but like, I wonder if there's something in what we're talking about like, is Tibbs a step slow on this innovation? Is it actually like, is Bridges' sort of like length, but not exactly move like lateral speed make him not the exact right defensive player in this situation? I don't know.
That's an interesting question, and like my theory would be that they are set up to defend in the playoffs really well, and set up to defend the Celtics specifically in the playoffs really well.
Yeah,
because basically, if you have those wing guys, you're preventing Tatum from getting easy stuff on switches, and you're being able to guard him and Brown one-on-one super effectively. Just taking a quick glance at their stats, the opponents are shooting third best from three in the NBA. They do a really good job of not fouling, like they limit free throws, but like I think they're just kind of protecting, not the wrong areas, but like, yeah, I think they're just playing like a little bit of not an archaic defense, but they're just kind of like a half step behind maybe.
It is also just hard. I can't back this up with, I haven't watched 70 fucking Knicks games, but if your point of attack defense is Brunson and you're at the rim defense is Karl-Anthony Towns, you're in a hole.
Yeah, that's a really good point. Like they're really good at all the in-between stuff.
Exactly, yeah.
And I have check out this transition. Part of what makes Flag such an enticing number one prospect is that he can guard the point of attack insanely well. He can also protect, like his weak side rim protection is like as good as I've ever seen. And it's what makes him so enticing to me. And the thing I'm most excited to watch him is that he can do everything on defense. Like he's so fast. He's so big. He makes just plays constantly. And I'm wondering what was it like to watch him in person?
Yeah, it was cool. Again, just to watch this to see him live. I felt a little bit like I didn't get the best opportunity to kind of scout him under that much pressure because of, and in part of their dominance, because they just rolled over Baylor. Like it was a dominating performance end to end, such that Cooper didn't need to be superhuman. At times it felt like that. I mean, not at times. Like I think that Duke team would have beaten them without Cooper. Like they did not need him. I mean, they have two other top possible lottery picks. So, but I will say about Cooper, the few things kind of in person that jumped out. One is a little concern trolling. He is not 6'9". I'm
interesting.
Because I always do, like, this is my number one like prospect blink test thing I do every time I do it in summer league. I actually stand by this of like, do they look big? Like, do they jump off? Like, do they look like a big guy? A great example is Kevin Durant. You see him, and I'm like that. You're like, that dude is fucking massive.
Yes.
He is like head and shoulders above people. Cooper looked, he's 19, whatever. But he did not look like Adonis athlete. He did not look like, oh my God, what a big 6'9". He looked closer to a big guard than he did a small forward or a power forward. Now, that's really the only kind of like anything near negative thing I could say. Well, go ahead. Wait, what were you gonna say?
Well, I'm just thinking that's interesting. Like, there's this kind of, if you follow basketball to like a certain degree, you get really into like how skillsy someone is and how many things they can do and how few weaknesses they have. But then there is sort of this like annoying, like actually just kind of being big and athletic is like the most important thing that matters.
It's all, I think it does end up being like this weird balance where like Kuminga is a great foil where he has all the intangibles, but just like cannot figure out how to process the game. Whereas,
he's like, okay, he can't really dribble or shoot or defend and doesn't really know where to stand, but like, man, he's so good at sometimes, you know?
And if he gets if he gets a step on anybody, it's a good shot. He just like doesn't get a step on people that often.
And I really like this kind of tension, this contradiction, because it basically, basketball is both more simple and more complex than it appears sometimes. Like if you follow all the really hardcore analytics people, they kind of don't say it, but there's like a kind of basketball Calvinism presupposed where it's like, okay, honestly, whoever runs the ideal system with these like min-maxed numerical skills will necessarily win, or will win 7 out of 12 times when you roll the dice. And it's like, there's this real like determinism to it. But then you watch someone like Kawhi just like, okay, what if he just hits 15 mid-range jumpers in a row? Like the game ultimately at the end of the day is about a bucket. And like the ways that is both predictable and unpredictable, that's like the eternal tension that makes it fascinating to me.
I agree. And so to that, like what did excite me about Cooper was how to be 19, to be basically kind of the trigger man for that offense, like play.
Yeah, he runs shit, right?
He basically played point. I mean, they have a point guard, but he took the ball down a lot. He obviously their offense, a lot of it runs through him. He had such a just solid game. Like, no forced shots. You know, got to the line a bunch, overpowered people. Like, had this kind of just sort of had a ability to impose his will on the game in a somewhat subtle way was what was very impressive to me. Like,
he's a really good passer, right?
Great. He had, again, I mean, they were just like fucking dominating Baylor. So like a lot of the passes were like swing, corner three. Yeah. But he was a great passer. He was a good defender. Like, you know, just did a lot of basically. In some, what was impressive was the lack of mistakes. Like he just had a clean sheet, you know.
Yeah.
No, even like not a lot of like wasted drives. If he did get cut off, he would usually flip it out later, flip it out quickly.
Yeah. Doesn't let the offense just kind of die with him.
Does ever. Not let the offense die at all, especially for like and was part of. I mean, this was it was just a really dominant performance by Duke, and he was a big part of it. So that's what I would say. The other two, the things that I on the other hand, VJ Edgecombe was disappointing to me. I didn't know
he's very small, right?
That was I had the kind of classic experience that you don't want, where I'm watching the game for 15 minutes, and then I was like, wait, doesn't Baylor have a top 3 draft pick in this team? Had to Google to figure it out who it is. That's not what you want.
That's concerning.
You want to be able to, you know, again, Baylor was just getting dominated by clearly a far better team.
Yeah.
The only thing I'll say about Edgecombe is once I started studying what he was like, I was like, I get it. This guy's 18, is like built like
crazy athlete.
Yeah, he just kind of, he's like low. He's like Anthony Edwards before he got all of the 2K VC. Like he's just like skinny, kind of like emaciated Anthony Edwards. So, you know, I definitely would not write him off.
His best play was a missed dunk, I think, in the first game, where he like split the defense and had that crazy like showed off his bounce, and he hit it off the rim so hard it bounced like across half court before it hit the ground. He's a little concerning to me, because if you're drafting a small guard who's like that athletic and like projects as a good defender, you want that guy to be able to like beat people off the dribble or hit a three. And his lack of offensive polish is a little like, Anthony Edwards like is sort of a good type of guy comparison, and except Edwards was like in college really great at like generating offense.
Yeah, and even that's probably too. It's maybe more like Bradley Beal, or like, I'm trying to remember what they were like in college, but like I think there's a universe where he ends up like Trevor Ariza or something, like a kind of good 3-and-D, but just doesn't pop in the. I think like the bad path for him would be a Jalen Green, kind of like springy, athletic, but like you're kind of like, hey, can you just blow by somebody? I know it's fun that you can jump out of the gym, but can you like move somebody off a spot one time?
This is another great tension about scouting and draft stuff, where it's like you wanted like obviously all the tools and the full profile and, you know, the lack of weaknesses are important and good, but ultimately if you're drafting someone in the top 3, you want them to be really good at basketball and able to just like get buckets.
Totally. The only other things I had were on this were Con Knuppel looked good, I gotta say. I again, whatever, I keep saying it, but Duke was rolling, but he just looked good. He's crafty, big body.
Good finisher. He really surprised me with how like crafty he is around the rim.
Yeah, that's exactly right. He had a few kind of very interesting kind of Joe Ingles style, like got the guy on his hip, waited for the right moment, sort of flicked it up with his offhand. So I think
What did you think of Malawach?
He files under the just like, that's a fucking big ass dude.
Yeah.
Duke had another center that was also big. So I mean, they just overpowered Baylor. So I'm actually going to see them again in Newark this week. So
nice.
I'm excited to keep watching the boys.
Got the detailed scout going. This is great.
Yeah. Okay. Let's return to McNeese, because I do want to talk a little about the curious case of Amir Khan, and the kind of, I think there's a dialectic at play here, which is that I like what I'm seeing from Amir Khan. Seems like a nice guy. It's like a guy I love that he's getting paid to be goofy. I like that he's doing the videos. I think he seems like a funny guy. And there is something icky about how rapid and how kind of like soulless and predictable this like NIL driven meme aura exploitation nexus is.
Yeah, it's basically just brands co-signing like a moment of virality, and it is good that he gets paid, but also like why, I guess is my question. Like, what is he doing other than just like being in the right place in the right time once? It's also funny that like McNeese won exactly one game and then got their shit pushed in, and it's just over. And it's like, okay, all this he got allegedly like 6 figures, which is like great, good for him, get paid to like cut a couple promos before getting just destroyed by Purdue. It feels, I don't know. Yeah. Why does it feel so weird?
I think we were talking to Ox Portello in the boys chat that we actually, I forgot to say
our
this.
Lawyer.
Our lawyer, Ox Portello, that we accidentally added Kevin O'Connor to that group chat. I forgot about that. We were like, that was the whole thing. He leaked our dark basketball takes to the to Yahoo Sports. No, but we were talking about this whole thing, and okay, I have to say it. This is important. I don't want to shit on a 21-year-old kid, but it is important. He doesn't have that much aura.
Wow.
He doesn't. And there was we first of all, you need to situate this in last year's kind of like NIL driven aura madness before the word aura really took hold. But you also need to situate this in a kind of long line of like there is a long line of cultural alchemy that happens when an emerging regional rapper pairs with a football team and like a locker room video pops off, because they're just like so awesome and like exciting. The biggest ones that come to mind are the Michigan State on their Rose Bowl, Michigan State football team on the Rose Bowl run had a My Type of Way Rich Homie Quan fascination. That was kind of before Rich Homie Quan popped in a
oh wow
big way. And like it's just, the video is so fucking awesome. I was watching it earlier and I was just smiling ear to ear. It's so fun.
Yeah, you get hyped up instantly.
And just like instantly, like these guys are having so much fun. This is so like youthful and beautiful, and like they look like they love each other. It's just like they're beautiful little videos, you know? Then there's the Kansas State Lil Baby video from 2 years ago. That was again, like, I mean, Lil Baby had some hits, but I think that was like along his ascendancy to like the biggest rapper in the world. And then last year, kind of in a real NIL kind of the beginning stages of this, the Bossman D'Lo Kansas State, no, North Carolina State, NC State walkout with a video, which by the way, I looked back and there's just a different manager who's also rapping around with a giant Beats bill.
Wow.
I was like, damn, dude, like 1 year late. Like
you missed the viral economy wasn't quite right for you to get paid. Sorry, man.
Yeah, you sold the fucking NC State coin a little bit too early. And then we have this one, which again, like I think the original video was fun. It was immediately like oh, haha, like they're doing one of these. But it was fun, you know. I was like, hey,
Yeah.
just grabbing along, whatever. Just I don't think there's anything too profound about it, but just like how rapidly and kind of like fervently this was immediately commoditized, both in attention economy and then pretty much immediately after the literal economy, was just sad. It just was a bummer. Like it was.
Yeah.
They are trying to exploit every single bit of this and sell it for parts. So that's my rant.
Yeah, it's like the speed at which it was like instantly totally commodified, and like enjoying this goofy guy like leading his team out is like the fun of that is only sort of validated by like the size of the brand deal.
Yes.
Like you can't like it on its own terms, it sort of ceases to have value, and because it's like so quickly just like thrown into the machine, it's like you're only supposed to like it because Under Armour gave him, you know, $100,000 or whatever. It's like that is the thing that validates it, none of its own artistic value. The other sort of thing that bothers me is like the collapse of all of like quote unquote content into like one single point. Like this guy is not on the basketball team, and like the basketball at all becomes sort of incidental. And I'm not like making this case that like, okay, that's the only thing that matters, but like it's the way that everything is like sort of produced and commodified like along the same term, in the same terms and along the same lines, if that makes sense.
Yeah, because there was such a froth to anoint, and the basically the market dictates this, that there needs to be a froth to like who can get the brand deal to the fucking best meme kid of the tournament or whatever. Like this McNeese team won one game.
Yeah.
It's like they won one game. They got fucking trashed by Purdue the second game. They were anointed the Cinderella of the season. He was anointed as having aura. Like all of this is coming top down instead of bottom up in a way that like it feels so porous and silly.
Hawk Tua spit on that thing.
Exactly.
The Hawk Tua factory will continue producing until morale improves.
Exactly. Yeah. That was the other kind of last, just in this universe of, and this is in my mind the most tragic, but also kind of prescient argument for the value of crypto and like shitcoins, is like there is such a desire to commodify every corner of everything that like maybe having a like financial structure for it is gonna start actually making business sense, you know, like in some fucked up way, and I don't want that to be the case, but I'm like, I don't know, like if they're already like, how far away is what's going on from like, you know, McNeese coin? Like we're it's a river.
Unfortunately, I'm just imagining this being played in a deposition for our trial after Nothing But Respect coin. Investors sue for us doing a rug pull because we're like, okay, this is the only way to monetize the fucking podcast. All right, can we delete that up? And like someone's already recorded it, and it's like, okay, on March 25th, 47 minutes in, Harry Krinsky says,
Your Honor, was satire.
So everything we've said is not financial advice. This is all just a joke.
Yes. And then I did see this other. I just, you know, I try to call it like I see it, right? I've given
balls and strikes,
right? I've given Barstool Media their flowers. Sometimes I bring them up when I talk about their kind of ability to build out a brand and etc. The KFC radio interviewing the McNeese kid today and asking him if he had a girlfriend and how much money he made and all that stuff is like, it's like the most like jacking off into an algorithm fucking bullshit ever. I was like, dude, like this is who is this for?
Yeah, that's just one more asshole on the human centipede of content.
Yeah,
it's like no one needs that, man.
And then yeah, exactly. So Barstool, you're on KFC radio, you're on notice. That's a strike. For the Nothing But Respect army. Okay, let's talk a little bit before we go about the only kind of interesting news in the NBA this year, or sorry, not this year, in the NBA this week which was the sale of the Boston Celtics. why did a mid-tier city sports team that doesn't own their own arena sell for $6.1 billion?
It's crazy. This is like, I think this Celtics sale represents the like this shift that has been going on in NBA ownership specifically for the past decade or so is now, I think, like its apotheosis is represented in the Celtics sale, because you have insane valuations, you have the deal being sort of financed by outside shady capital partners, you have the omnipresence of private equity, you have like the weird real estate thing of the Celtics arena all being tied up in it. I don't like sports valuations are all sort of like fake and theoretical, right, and like they're more like an art object than like any sort of piece of rational business. But being sold at I think it's maybe even risen, but like 7.6, 6.1, whatever, like that many billions, like that doesn't make sense to me. That's so much money, you know?
Yeah, I get it that people want to be a part of these things, and it's this small group of people, and it's getting smaller and smaller. The like, it's almost like in the same way that kind of Tesla has kind of completed the Tesla has like it's completed the grift. Like it was able to, fake it until it actually made it, and now it's kind of like the grift is sort of self-sustaining. I feel that way about Bill Russell. Like, I feel that way about, like, these fucking Boston Celtics, like, truthers who are like, it matters more in Boston because of fucking Bob Cousy and John Havlicek, who didn't even fucking start. It's like, that the grift has been completed. They have made $6 billion off of, like, preparing that winning 11 championships in a row when there were 4 teams in the fucking arena. They were like playing round robin style bullshit matters. So, salute to fucking Jackie Mack, salute to Bill Simmons, salute to Dave Portnoy. You guys did it.
Another big dub for white identity politics. Yes. Congratulations, guys.
So I'm half Irish. Salute to you guys. Like, I hope
that is a crazy thing of like thinking about how teams' valuations do and do not scale with like market size.
That's what I'm
like
saying.
Regionalism is dead. Like, this doesn't matter anymore. You're basically paying for, like, I mean, pretty much what you just said. Like, you're paying for the history. You're paying for the championship rings. You're paying for the fucking self-indulgent Bill Simmons HBO documentary.
And it's like, and I guess it's now codified in like real whatever. I have some questions about this situation, because I actually don't know this. We're at the limits of my understanding of this. This is a private equity, in part, sort of private equity play. Like there's a little bit of selling, a little bit of like a consortium that's buying the Celtics in part. How is that different from when other ownerships groups bring in a consortium of sub-owners? Like, what is the functional difference there?
The only difference is scale, basically. Like, if you're Vivek Ranadive and you're buying the Kings for $500 million and you need some minority owners to pitch in like a total of like $100 million, you can just go find some rich guys.
Right.
You can just go take your helicopter to the Sand Hill Club and just be like, okay, who wants to pitch in $5 million? Like, right. Everyone will do that.
Courtside
but if you're financing a team for $6 billion, you sort of run out of people who can pay that, and basically also the people who can pay that. Like, the more you pay, the higher the stakes are. Basically, like you can't just throw away $500 million for 5% of the Celtics because you want that prestige. Because anyone who has that much money is like going to necessarily be of a larger size. And like the sort of trends I was talking about are like, as team valuations go up, the type of people who can buy in, like that basically that number gets smaller and smaller. And this is how you get the NBA allowing the Qatari royal family to buy 5% of the Washington Wizards, because like at this level, the only people who can like compete with each other are massive venture capital and private equity funds and sovereign wealth funds.
Great.
And that's like a very dark that I don't like that, because one of the tensions around this sale is like, okay, you have this big group of people like Sixth Street Capital, this private equity firm that like is buying minority stakes in like a ton of teams. Like they just bought 10% of the Giants this week.
Right. I saw that. Yeah. San Antonio Spurs, which are in the same fucking league as the Celtics.
And that then you run into this weird sort of anti-competitivity. Like, okay, ownership is already in a labor situation. Like they're already aligned by their class interests against players, but like their desire to compete with each other is part of why the players are able to get concessions. But if like you start getting teams owned by like a smaller and smaller number of people who are more united, then they can really fucking crush the players. And what worries me is that the Celtics have this great roster full of like, there's so much luxury tax payments here because you got to pay Peyton Pritchard and Baylor Shireman and some other people who aren't white because, you know, it's still the Celtics and you got to hold on to that core. But it's like, okay, if you get this group, this highly leveraged group of financiers who are not going to treat the team as much like this luxury object and be willing to actually lose money in the short term for competitive reasons, and that trend sort of ossifies across the league, you're going to get this like freezing of player salaries and this really like much more activist ownership class who will be trying to squeeze as much as they can out of labor. And like that, it's going to be really fascinating to see when the next CBA is negotiated, if like 2 or 3 more teams are sold in the intervening period, like if ownership is much more rigid and has their knives out, to mix my metaphors.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. And I do wonder if there's like one of the aces in the hole that like fans and players even to some extent have is that these owners usually are become public figures that want to be liked. They are kind of reacting to public pressure. They don't want to whatever.
So true.
There's this new class, which I think you laid out well, that's kind of across industry, but all broadly in the ghoul class of like titans of industry around efficiency, like either tech or VC or whatever.
Yeah.
We are going to get to a point where they don't give a fuck about being liked. No. And that ace in the hole, well, I mean, we're already there. Like the Luka trade, like they didn't give a fuck. They are like, they don't care. And so
that's a really interesting point. Yeah.
I hope that doesn't happen because there's always been this tenuous thing where like the owners and the fans are aligned in that they both want the sort of quote unquote legacy of their team to matter and be important. And like, that's why this has been happening. But if it really becomes, this other thing, and that's why it's funny. I do want to, there's been this really, I feel like silly PR campaign with the head of this VC of being like, he's been a lifelong Celtics fan. It's like, yeah, dude, okay. He's been a lifelong Celtics fan.
Like that is only going to matter if it's like he's a lifelong Celtics fan and therefore he will potentially lose money on this. Like there's no like you can say you care about winning, but like because of the luxury tax, like you have to really like you can't just say it. Like there are stakes.
Yeah. Only other thing I did some snooping on this. I typed in what's the guy's name?
Bill Chisholm.
Yeah, Bill Chisholm, Epstein. Nothing big came up yet, but we got some allegedly, possibly more documents coming out. The only kind of interesting thing I got was that Chisholm and the main banker who brokered this whole thing, Lacombe. What's his last name? I just texted it to you.
Oh, Lemkow.
Played soccer at Dartmouth together, which is just like the most Celtics bullshit ever. They're like a deal brokered by 2 Dartmouth soccer players. Yeah,
that's some crazy shit. Did you also see the thing about how like Wyck Grousbeck, which is short for Wycliffe, which is a great name. Mm-hmm. He was maybe not so hot on selling, but it's like his 90-year-old father or 91-year-old father who's like really he's the guy who actually has the equity and his son is like the face of it. He's the guy who really wants to sell. And that's like another really strange part of this deal is that Grousbeck will stay on for like 3 more seasons or something.
Till like 2018. Yeah. As like 2028 as a See, we are back in 2018. 2028 as like this sort of Mark Cuban style thing.
Very strange. Yeah.
Yeah, we'll see. Obviously, I hope it fucking doesn't work for them. I hope everything gets fucked up. I hope they trade Jason Tatum to the Warriors.
I have a small reading corner here.
Oh, please.
As a fan of the English language and its outer limits and the point where it sort of denatures and its ability to communicate actual information is subsumed by like ulterior motives, here are the first sentences of the websites of the various private equity firms that are involved.
Thank you.
Starting with 6th Street. As we said, they're financing part of this deal. They own parts of a lot of other teams. Founded in 2009, 6th Street is a leading global investment firm dedicated to developing themes and offering solutions to companies across all stages of growth. Isn't that beautiful?
Developing themes is crazy.
Yeah, I'm like trying to figure out what that means.
I mean, like, the only thing I can think of is like we invest in a portfolio of like Nietzschean founders or something. Like we invest around philosophical ideas.
Well, it's like that. Basically, developing themes that points to like a move of specification of we are going to like drill down, but then that's immediately contradicted by to companies across all stages of growth. So you got to pick one. Bain Capital. Mitt Romney founded the most famous private equity firm of all time. But, you know, one of the innovators in using private equity, basically, which, you know, we don't need to explain the whole thing. Obviously evil. My former editor-in-chief, Megan Greenwell, has a book coming out this summer about private equity that I think will be very good.
I was born in the garden.
Bain is involved because the other Celtics, like the biggest minority owner, Steve Pagliuca, he works there. There was an accident. I don't think Axios reported it.
No, I'm
I hope so.
That was sort of a Camille Pagliucci joke.
He put in a bid that got rejected. There were like apparently 3 or 4 other bids, one of which was larger, one of which was fully funded by like the guy himself. I think this might have been his.
Pagliucci, yeah.
That is all very interesting too, like seeing which sorts of deals the owners prioritized. Bain Capital is a global private investment firm that partners differently. Just great,
Period.
Moving differently to unlock opportunity and help people and companies create exceptional outcomes. So they're moving different. I love that.
Unlock opportunity is also a sneakily insane thing to say.
That's really good. We sort of run out of interesting sentences here, but I do want to say that Wick Grausbeck's firm, Highland Capital Partners, literally the only thing on their website is 36 years of putting the entrepreneur first. Swag.
Hell yeah.
That's, that's what you want.
I'll give you 2 little readings, which was Boston.com actually did a really nice survey of people in the Boston area about what they think, sorted into don't know, excited, and not excited. I'm going to read one from excited and one from not excited. Not excited. Private equity is ruining so many aspects of life in the U.S. Bars. Veterinary care. Interesting. Dental insurance, retail, healthcare, housing, farming. And I'm supposed to trust a PE firm founder to be a good team owner. He'll tank this team and say it's for efficiency or optimization. Really disappointed. I don't care if he's local or a diehard fan. If the new owner is associated with private equity, it won't be good for this organization. Amanda from Edford. Amanda from Edford, come on the pod anytime.
Dude, just like perfect, totally right.
Good
basically.
pros. Yeah.
You're running into the tensions of rooting for a team, meaning like the way that aligns you with the owners rather than the players. Swag. Correct all around. What's the counterpoint we got here?
This is from Robert P. in Chestnut Hill. Why not? The new owner is a local guy and he loves the Celtics. He may move the team to a new facility.
That's great. He's just like smiling through it all. Can't believe this is my life.
Yeah, exactly. He's like, they're going to have Gatorade water fountain at the new TD Garden.
Oh, boy.
The TV screen's going to be bigger than the one at MSG.
Between those two, you can basically tease out the like, kind of what I said, like the inherent tensions of fandom of like, to really be a hardcore fan of a team means like, kind of aligning yourself with the wrong side. So
yep. Well, here we align ourselves with the right side. Give us a subscribe, write a review, and your idea or question or even critique will be batted around at the top of a pod moving forward. I am Harry Krinsky. I am joined as always by Patrick Redford. Patrick, you got anything on the docket people should look out for?
No, kind of for the reasons we just I can't really watch too much basketball right now, but we'll see what happens.
Beautiful. Well, we will see you next week.
All right, take care.
Go Blue in the tournament.